Right, well, after a little bit of shenanigans, we are back on the air. It is episode 54 of MalTravAle. It is the 26th of February, so a couple of weeks since we last got together. Good evening, gentlemen. Are we in form?
Oh, hello. I'm fine, thank you.
Oh,
Fine.
Um, and the news this week is that we've actually all been to, well, no, slightly, that's not quite right. I have been with them both drinking, so we've got lots to feedback on. So Bruce and I and Sons had a very nice little sojourn around New York the weekend before the one that's just gone. It was very nice. As it says on today's podcast title, we were hunting pubs in streets less tread in God's County. So we went to little bit of a slightly more sleepy corner of York. And certainly for me, I ticked off a couple of new pubs. I think maybe just one for Bruce. And we had a couple of, again, unfortunates where pubs were open. And then fresh this weekend, Nick and I and Son, we've had a little sojourn into Macclesfield as well. Nick was in Manchester for 24 hours. So we said we'd meet up. And so, again, we'll perhaps feed back that one in Macclesfield. Bruce, are you out about this weekend? I know you're kind of in transition from job mode at the moment. So I know you're out having a few beers somewhere on the weekend.
Oh, yes, I was at Scarborough on Saturday, but we only called it Leeds Arms, but a cracking place to Leeds Arms. It's just, anybody who knows Scarborough, it's the path from the castle down to the town. But it's always one of Scarborough's best pubs. It lay dormant for a while, but it's reopened now with the chap who's from the pub at Castlemorby. It's a proper nautical pub, but not overdone at all. It's got about 4 ale on, log burners, good mix of locals, tourists, people like ourselves, like a pint. Absolutely well worth the trip. Is the Leeds Arms from Scarborough. And sadly, of course, the Golden Ball on the seafront, which is really great.
So sure.
Seafront rooms that is about fourth year being closed now. That front bar's an absolute classic. But I must go a bit furher afield and rediscover the Stumbling next time I'm in Scarborough. And
Yeah,
that will be now wrapped up.
stumbling worth digging out. And last time I saw Nick, we were departing on Macclesfield Station. We'd had little bit of
mm.
a we couldn't decide which of the three pubs, which are literally spit's length away from Macclesfield. We ended up in the quite nice Holt's pub actually, very big space, but it was quite nice. And we had a little half of Holt's here just to Carolina. So
Yeah.
you got back, Nicholas, all right on the Transpennine and the various other trains that you had to get across Manchester in.
The train back up to Manchester wasn't the best of experiences, packed in like sardines and some vocal, boisterous, very rude, racist, hetero, whatever you want to call it, Sheffield United supporters. Unfortunately, I was quite disgusted with them, but fortunately, we were early on. They got off at Stockport,
I'm going to say they'll have to
and
stop and then
then
get across. Yeah.
the rest of the journey was very quiet. But yeah, they were drinking their cheap lager and their dodgy cider. Surprised that they were still drinking on the way back because I think they'd lost 1-0 against Wolves, haven't they? And they were obviously coming back
Been
from
drinking
the game.
all day. Yeah. Okay,
Well,
quick bit
yeah.
of beer news. Again, we're cutting down a little bit on this. Bruce sent me this. This is about, again, it was a bit of theme. We mentioned this last time. Wetherspoons, whilst they are closing some of their chain down, they're also spending quite a lot of money. So this one was in Wakefield. Again, I think, did you go to this on your little Wakefield and Castleford tour? I think about a year ago. Maybe we were called in here. But
We
this
walked
was
past it, didn't we, Bruce?
Yeah. Some size now, isn't it? Yeah, there's so
So
many
the
great pubs in
Six Chimneys, the Six Chimneys in Kirkgate, which is kind of main road, isn't it, in Wakefield, and they've spent £3 million renovating it. Although Bruce, you had a
Of
bit of a
course,
rant.
Well, no, I
he
think
can afford it now. He's cut the
this
staff down, put the staff discount down, hasn't he? Outrageous. And what a
there was a
coincidence! He
there was
did
a
it. He did it.
there
He
was
did
a
it 10
pub round
days
the
after he
corner.
got his MBE or whatever it was. Yeah.
Yeah, but hang on,
But,
have you read the full story, Bruce, about that?
well, did read bits
No,
of it.
Bruce
Yeah.
will be reading the
No.
Guardian or the Daily Mail or something again.
So the full story is this is Joe. This just to make the point that this hit the price. I think last week, Weatherspoons, the owner, has cut the staff discount. But actually, when you read it, so if you are a Weatherspoons employee, you get a free meal every shift that you work. So every shift that you work, you get a free meal, and then you also get 50% discount on, or you did get 50% discount on any food that you purchase from Weatherspoons pub. What he's doing is he's taking that down to 20% discount. So I would still like to work for anybody who would give me a free meal while I'm working, because I don't get a free meal. And not only that, but then give me half price food whenever else I want to use that chain. I don't know any other pub chain where you'd get half price discount on food any Weatherspoons in the country. Nicholas, over to you.
No, well, coming back to this pub, there was actually a pub around the corner. And when we went to Wakefield, it had been closed down. And I think it was quite a famous pub at one point. So what they've actually done is expanded up around the corner. So once again, it would have been, and it was derelict and dilapidated when we walked past it. So it's basically, he's utilising a building that was basically had no history, any other, what shall we say, life for it.
Yeah.
So he's renovated it. He's spent a load of money. He's got it back open again instead of it decaying and falling to pieces and everything else. So that's where it is. I think there's 2 Wetherspoons in Wakefield. And
I think what Michael forgot to add was if you behaved really well at work and exceeded all your targets, you didn't have to eat the free meal. That was a reward.
but what Bruce did point out was, if you're on YouTube, there was 21 pictures of this Benefit pub in the Yorkshire Post, and in one of them, you can clearly see down one whole wall of this very nice looking pub inside. There are at least 6, 7 video machines, which again is a little bit strange. And when Wetherspoons don't allow televisions in lots of their pubs and don't have live music, but they do allow gambling machines. So again, slightly strange. Anyway, let's move on. So other news, again, we talked last week, I think last time, about a couple of breweries which unfortunately were closing. I know there's been a couple more. And I think we'd also mentioned that Adnams, again, have called in, they said they've called, a bit like, who was it did, a bit like Black Sheep did, they've called in financial experts to help them. And because of that, their shares suddenly fell by 5%. So again, keep an eye on that, really, because you'd have thought Adams are a fairly strong, strong business with a good reach, and obviously the beers and the Ghost Ship, particularly the Zero we mentioned last week, has had massive sales.
I would think it's a logistics cost though, Mike. I mean, they're out in the middle of nowhere. They're out on the north coast.
Yeah.
To get their beer anywhere else, they've probably got a lot more transport costs than a lot of other breweries, really.
And then maybe it's not thing again.
It's in all the supermarkets, isn't it? You see it everywhere. I'm quite amazed at that.
Yeah, Ghost Ship and
stuff. They're not making money selling beer in supermarkets, Bruce. We learnt that at Thornbridge. Most brewers put the beer into the supermarkets just to get the name on the shelf, but they're actually not making any money. In fact, Thornbridge told us that they were actually losing money on the Jaipur when they launched that in canned in Tesco's, because they were able to sell it to Tesco's for less than what they were producing it for. So supermarket beer is to try and get your name out there. Well, we all know the situation supermarket beer. This is why Tim Martin from Wetherspoons has campaigned for a long time about trying to level up the playing field in terms of the supermarkets should be charging a minimum, and also they don't pay tax, etc., on the beer that they sell.
So some slightly better news. They again advertised last week. We're talking about 2024 could be a beer trend year. So actually, looking at the current sales figures, beer sales are actually 3% up. So while all other drinks are being sold alcohol-wise is flat, beers is up. But what they are saying is it's draft and premiumization. So people are drinking less, but they're drinking kind of higher quality. This is kind of where your Madri and those kind of things come in. As you mentioned last week, low alcohol beers up by 28%. But interestingly, stout sales up by 18%. Cask sales down by 5%. And again, we mentioned this last week, actually, on rugby days, there is a 23% uplift of beer being sold, in draft beer being sold, and obviously Guinness, etc., for both the World Cup in the summer and the Six Nations. Again, it's quite lucrative, and we mentioned that last week for pubs and clubs when rugby's on. So, beery highlights.
As well is it's on terrestrial TV. I mean, I was in Leeds Arms at Scarborough on Saturday. Loads of lads had come in. They're all drinking Guinness, but of course, he didn't show Spock on terrestrial TV. I mean, if rugby sell it out to Sky, it will be a huge blow. Say not only for the sport, but also for the pubs as well, won't it? Because it certainly appeals to people in, doesn't it?
So, having had a lean couple of weeks, kind of January wise, everybody has been out, going everywhere. So we probably can't catch all of it up today. So I'm going to let Bruce have a quick soiree. He spent half term using his cheap rail tickets, taking the family around middle of the north end of the country and over the border. I know, Nick, you had a couple of trips out as well, which we need to catch up on. And then I said we're going to focus on York today with a little sojourn to Malton, the town that gave the podcast its name. And then we must also tell you a little bit about Macclesfield in our next podcast as well. So come on then, Bruce. We've got a variety of photos up on the screen for those people on YouTube. Give us a quick rundown of where you ended up.
So if you're our viewer on YouTube, yes, we're very lucky in the north. Transparent Express have been running a £2 return promotion for about 6-7 weeks. Amazing, astonishing value, really. You can go literally anywhere over the north of England for a couple of pounds. So it's been half term, we've all been using it. So we started off in Liverpool. The picture in the top left, this is the Bridewell. This is a conversion of a small police station, not far at all from the Albert Dock, between the Albert Dock and the main street. Picture actually, it looks really good. And then into the picture, you've got the booths, but in a funny way, when you're in there, you're isolated. So whilst it looks a great pictorial on it, I was actually a shade disappointed because we're in there, couldn't see any action, could look at anybody else, but a huge range of beers on. I believe Kirkstall Brewery possibly have an investment. There's a lot of Kirkstall beers on, but nevertheless, great range of beers, well worth a visit. And then to the right of that one, we're at the Steamboat in South Shields, from Newcastle, at the Metro up to South Shields. Nick introduced with this pub. It's a cracking pub, isn't it, Nick?
Yeah.
Again, very not
down a little cobble street in it, just off the front.
Yeah. I think
well supported by camera.
Yeah, South Shields' most ardent supporters would admit South Shields is a town that is absolutely on its arse, sadly. I mean, it was once a thriving place. People all over the northeast go there for a day out, but the high street has been absolutely decimated, partly because they built a shopping park at the back of it, which was an insane thing to do. Now, of course, Debenhams have moved out, Max Spencer moved out. It really is down at heel. But nevertheless, as you get towards the Tyne Ferry, you've got this fantastic pub down on Cobble Street to your left. It's dark. It's got about 3 different rooms to it. On the roof, you've got all flags that have come in from proper cargo ships. Obviously, a big, interesting range of beer. And it's totally unspoiled, isn't it, Nicky? It's a fantastic pub. I've not been in the dark yet.
Watch out. Yeah, watch out for the seagulls around there. I remember we had a sausage sandwich, Bruce, on High Street, and the bloody seagull came on my shoulder and pinched half my bloody sausage.
Yeah, I know, that's right. There's colossal that. They were starving South Shields, the poor beggars. To the right of that, this is the Centurion. The Centurion, unquestionably the finest railway drinking establishment in the country. Designed by George Stevenson to be a first-class dining room, the first-class waiting area. Lay dormant for years and was astonishing. It was a cells by the police in the 1960s. Absolutely incredible how some of these railway buildings were abused and they've come back to it. Again, it's open for all day long. People go for coffees, but again, they've got small range of rail ales on. Does attract a lot of lager drinkers, but traditionally, I think we're in Newcastle. If you're going out for the day, everybody meets the Centurion. So it's busy from morning till night. Always a great vibe. People excited to be going away. Lots of ladies going to London to see shows and hen parties and as well behaved. You've been in, haven't you, Nick? It's quite astonishing. It's absolutely.
I don't think you have. No, I think I know it with the tile panels on the walls.
Yeah, that's
so awesome. I think I've read about it. Yeah, in my heritage camera guide, but I don't think I've actually been in there.
It is incredible. On the same theme, the picture on the bottom left there. Well, this is also railway, but this is at Doncaster Station. The draftsman. So this is almost like the Centurion in miniature, I think is the best way to describe it. Again, it was the old draftsman's office. Lay locked up for years and years and years. And then they decided to look one day, see what they got, and it's totally unspoiled, isn't it? Again, Victorian tiling in there. They've got a great range of beers on as well. Really friendly staff. It's always packed. They're also network of consenting now. I'm to put some outdoor seating on as well, which obviously when they're on the platforms, it really is on. It is actually on platform 3. It's not tucked away. It is actually in the middle.
Yeah, it's just a tiny little one room, and I sat out on the platform actually that time that. Well, when me and Michael were in Sheffield, so yeah.
You're passing through that deserve it. Then they have Meet the Brewer nights there that sell out constantly. Huge, fantastic addition to Doncaster's drinking scene. But that's to say, I've never come across such aggressive beggars I did in Doncaster outside the station. It was really quite shocking. A theme which I believe people are echoing around the country presently. To the right of that is the Baltic.
Say you, Bruce. They think you like Friar Tuck, they think you're a wealthy bloke.
No, it wasn't bad. I was quite, there's jaw stepping you really. You understand around Manchester as well. Manchester Piccadilly's getting really bad for it. To the right,
Manchester's shocking.
Yeah, it's the Baltic Fleet again, a pub that's been there just across the road from Albert Dock. If you were with the Albert Dock, you come out and turn right, and it's the sort of first nearest rail institution. Now, inside they've made a real good job of preserving this, restoring it, bringing it back. Big choice of beers on as well. It was being inundated with beer sales reps the day we were there, the lad behind the bar. Because apparently in Liverpool, when they found out they've got spare taps, there's going to, but again, that peculiar end corniche type building, well worth looking there. And finally, you might wonder why there's a picture of a fridge of tenants. Quite interesting. This we were at Whitby Station, getting some snacks for the journey up to Edinburgh. Despite all the posh Mark Spencer's food and the pitch full of craft beer, Mark actually decided there was no point trying to go away sales. So in Mark Spencer Waverley, you actually have a fridge just dedicated to Tennent's Lager. It's quite an unusual sight, really. So obviously no point trying to sell people their cans of craft beer at £4.75 a pop with 330 ml tin. They have a fridge dedicated to Tennent's, which did make us smile. So yes,
I thought that on Saturday, Bruce, with the product placement, the BBC are completely against product placement, and yet when there were celebrations of the Scottish rugby team after they beat England, Tennent's was very, very prominent within the dressing room. What then? I expect most rugby players to be either drinking beer or Guinness, not necessarily Tennent's Lager, but I suppose it's intravenous to them. There, isn't it? Anybody who is Scottish, there again, I suppose the Scottish rugby team, most of them aren't actually Scottish, so maybe they are lager drinkers. I don't know.
I do like Tennent's, though. I think it's really nice. It's much nicer than the Carling stuff we get. I don't dislike the pie at Tennent's.
I remember me being into my brewery area, though. I remember the unpolitically correct range of cans they used to have back in the 70s. Used to have voluptuous ladies on them. They used to be like quite a collector. Talking about brewery area, Bruce has already seen it. My latest edition. Don't know if everybody can see it there on YouTube. I acquired it's a George V wartime 10-sided pint mug, and it was in such excellent condition that I had to consult with an expert. There's a guy online called Gully, Gully's Glasses. He has his own website. He has something like over 3,000 different beer glasses now, representing about 364 breweries from 65 different countries. And because it was in such good nick, you see, during war, obviously, glass was in very short supply. And they reckoned if you could go into a pub and find a pub with beer, it wasn't necessary that you couldn't get a beer, but you didn't have a glass to put it in because glasses were shorter than beer. But on the mark that's got on it, on the proof mark there, he's told me that it was actually made in Castleford, which I was quite pleased about, seeing that it's a Yorkshire pint mug made during World War II. And
nice.
My Bradfield's Farmer's Blonde that I'm drinking out is tasting very nice tonight.
Good.
And talking of product placement, unfortunately, obviously, Nicholas is without Wi-Fi from his next door neighbours. So currently, his EE network is slightly struggling to show us what he's trying to show us.
All right.
So apologies for those on YouTube, but I'm sure you can find a decent broadband supplier in your area. Right. So Malton. So a short window. Son went up to see Grandma and Grandad. So I had to go and pick him up. So I had about 24 hours or so in Malton. So decided that we'd go out, and a little bit of a kind of mixture, really. It was very sad walking up the town on a Friday night, eerily quiet, and having to walk past numerous pubs, which unfortunately are now closed. So I think we've discussed before. Again, those that know Malton, the Rose and Crown, what was the Sotheby's Crown Hotel, it was all in darkness. The Cross Keys pub, which again was always a great place to get a beer, especially an Abbeydale beer, was again sadly all in darkness. But there were a little bit of light, I guess. There were a couple of our old haunts, which are still hanging on. And so it was very pleasing to get in the Blue Ball. I think me and Nick tried a couple of months ago when I was in Malton, but unfortunately it was shut very early. By the time we got there, it was shut. So, and I've got to say, it hasn't changed very much. It's as it always was. That minute little bar where the landlady there looked after very well. I think there were 3 or 4 cask beers on. I actually went for Landlord, and it was very nice. I've got to say, it almost tasted like Landlord of the past. It was pretty busy as well, both the front rooms. I was telling my son that we were hopefully going to get in a little snug bar. For those on YouTube, that's the window right in the middle pub there. Classic little snug benches either side. Probably seats about 8, 9 people, and you face the little bar which is there. And the other room, Barty's room, that was also completely full as well. So, in fact, we had to sit in the little kind of empty room where you go up to the restaurant. Restaurant was doing good business as well. So the Blue Ball is alive and kicking and definitely worth a catch. I think it's probably Malton's oldest pub, is that. Apparently it was a farmhouse back in the 15th, 16th century. And then it was a quick walk up over the cattle market to the Spotted Cow, which, again, having a little bit of a tepid history over the last few years, is now reopened. Again, it was pretty full for a Friday night. Couldn't get in again the nice little snug on the left-hand side. That was absolutely rammed. I've got to say the rear bar, which is again a bigger bar, was full of quite sweary, youngish people and quite some obviously well-oiled older ladies who were having a good night out. But unfortunately, they had no cask ale on whatsoever. It's a little bit disappointing. So I had to opt for a pint of Guinness. So apart from that, again, it was good that it's reopened. Again, it was pretty full for Friday night. So again, if you're in Malton, I think just for the position of this pub, and it's worth going in anyway. I mean, they've got no beer, it was worth going. I think they did have. I think they had neck oil on keg, and I think a John Smith's on keg as well. But I think Nick, they do have cask in, but there was obviously none there. And the lady behind the bar, who I'm guessing was probably Polish, didn't have a clue what I was talking about. And I said, "Have you got no cask ale on?" So there we go. We then met up with Nick, so we managed to have a quick soiree into Brass Castle, which again just closed slightly early most nights, but we managed to get in there. Again, their beer choice is getting a bit limited now, isn't it? I know they always have a couple of casks on and then the keg lines, but I don't know really. I was a bit disappointed. I ended up having some very weird beer, which I didn't like very much because it was very sweet. Nick's was
blueberry,
okay.
Vanilla, and white chocolate. I think it was.
Yeah, something like that, and like a pale. It'd have been nice and stout, maybe. We also managed to get into the Osset Pizza on the Square, which again was okay, Nick, wasn't it? It was a bit noisy. They had music on, which was very noisy.
Yeah.
We managed to find a little bit of a quieter space uptown. Again, beer was fine. A good range on in there, actually. Again, I think they were all Osset. Did they
price for the camera discount?
Camera discount. And then we ended
just have salt and Osset on.
Osset. And then we ended up in Omni. And had our normal trial of 3 beers. Again, all very good, all local Yorkshire beers. So it was quite nice getting back into Malton. I said just a shame about some of those shut pubs. So the real focus was to head to a part of York which is lesser known. So people may know York has got its 4 bars, which are kind of Gates, Warmgate, Monkgate, and the other gates. There also are 2 postern gates, which are a little bit smaller and sometimes tucked away, and therefore often a little bit quieter, aren't they? And the one we were going to focus on in our little visit this afternoon was Fishergate, which is, I guess, to the kind of southeast of the city centre. If you know York, if you know where St George's car park is, and is that one Lendl Bridge, that one, Bruce? Which bridge is that one? Bridge is it, sorry?
No, St George's.
No, it's not Lendl. It was
Skeldergate Bridge.
Skeldergate Bridge, that's right. So you walk over there. Unfortunately, the inner ring road kind of cuts a little bit of this up, doesn't it? But this is again for those on Fishergate. This is a Fisher. Sorry, doesn't YouTube. This is Fishergate. It doesn't have the big battlements that the other bars have, and so it's a little tucked away. But it's a nice little bit of York. So Bruce got to jump on the bus. So you catch the bus outside the railway station and head down Fulford Road, or get I think number 11 is to Fulford, for your £2. And after about a fairly short journey, 10-15 minutes, you get off on Fulford Road and you walk down a very nice terrace called Alma Terrace. And halfway down this, there is a tucked away, a very nice little pub called the Wellington Inn. So Bruce has been here a few times before. In fact, he was here the night before, testing it out for us. And this is a classic little Sam Smith house, very much untouched. It's like a bit of a museum piece. Still has the bell pushes, still has the open fires. I think in all 3 rooms, Bruce. I think it's got open fires. In fact, the landlady was just stocking them up once we got on there. It was one of those great Saturdays. As we walked, as you can see the picture there, as we walked down, she was just pulling the bolts off the door at bang on 12 o'clock. So we were the first customers, so in we went. And again, I've gone off all brewery bitter, so I actually had a Triple X Best, which is kind of what was their light mild, wasn't it? Which is very nice, actually. And I think you had an old BB, didn't you, Bruce?
No, I can't drink. So I've been down. I just cannot drink all breweries. I just have the Taddy Lager.
Oh, you had Taddy Lager, yeah.
Lager boy.
So very nice. Definitely worth finding out. They do a quiz on a Thursday night, I think, which is very, very popular. It is a very strict pub, though. So, as well, all Sam Smith should be, but there's a bit of variation. This is definitely a pub where you wouldn't get your phone out, I swear, because I'm sure the very nice lady would have you out. And there are lots of posters all over the place reminding you not to use your phone or to swear. But apart from that, it's a very nice pub. And then a quick walk down the recently flooded river which is a bit grotty, and we've got a little conversation with some locals and a little old chap with his dog who was telling us chapter and verse about the problems of the flooding ooze, and the fact that the council now have given over the looking after those paths to the local, so some of the local do-gooder residents who don't maybe do it as much as they should be doing it. And we ended up in a new one for me, definitely. And this is, I think they're actually
dog shitting all over.
Yeah, and was the lighthouse, the Light Horseman, which is a Thwaites pub, isn't it? Which is quite unique in York. So Thwaites, again, obviously a brewery up in North Lancashire. This is a very nice pub inside. I guess I don't know. I don't know. It could be a fantastic pub, couldn't it, Bruce? As you can see on the video, on the clips there, it still retains some of that gin palacy bit that it had. Apparently, they reckon they're the only pub in the country with this name, and it's linked to the local barracks, which I think are still there. Actually, the barracks down Fulford Road. And there was some cavalry, and they suggest that this is where an officer's mess for a while. So very nice. On walking in, we were very, very excited because you can see there 3 hand pumps, Farmer's Blonde, drinking it tonight, Thwaites Gold, Thwaites IPA, and then I just noticed a little half-pint glasses on top of the pumps, and not surprisingly, the guy behind the bar said, "Oh yeah, we've only got 1 beer on." And having read the reviews, this is quite a regular occurrence. So whilst they've got the bad, why not turn the bloody pump clips around? And stop exciting us. So there was
people look through the windows and walk past.
Yeah. So as you can see there, the Thwaites wasn't bad. It was not a bad IPA. And you can see a nice sitting area there in the window. It was kind of ticking over, I think, for a Saturday lunchtime. Nothing too huge. We're going to go to a pub which none of us had been to before, which again has recently reopened. The Edinburgh Arms. This used to be a Hunt's pub back in the day, JJ Hunt's, but it's now a bit of a kind of free house. It was saying that it's a community pub, not a city centre boozer. Well, we walked in and we walked straight back out again. So we walked in to a fairly bare pub, no cask beer whatsoever, and a bunch of fairly, I don't know, interesting-looking people, mainly male, sat round one table watching Leeds United on the television, making lots of noise. Yeah. So we walked straight in.
I have been in there before, about 25 years ago, and it was as rough as assholes then.
So walked out of there. Thankfully, we sought whatever the word is, sanctuary in the Phoenix, which is literally the other side of Fishergate Bar. So into the Phoenix we went. I had a very nice pint of goose eye, which was actually a goose eye and Osset collaboration, and a very nice pork pie, courtesy of Bruce, which was very nice. Bruce, you were on the Ilkley in there, weren't you, I think?
Yes, I must admit, I like Ilkley beers, but no, I'm going to avoid the blonde. It's foolish. The landlord in there is an excellent plant landlord in there. Yeah,
it is, yeah. And as you can see, if
you're on... There's a roaring fire, wasn't there? They say they've got a huge selection of pies. It's a fantastic atmosphere in that pub, isn't it?
Well, if you see my picture on the right there, that was my pint, which was very nice. My pot pie, and the fire in the back, I tried to get all there for Bruce. But surprisingly quiet, Bruce. Because we could have had a pick of 4 or 5 tables in that front room, and normally that front room is pretty busy, but it was really quiet. So having kind of got ourselves back together again, we set off around the corner, walked past Warmgate and went onto Lawrence Street, where you are blessed because within 100 yards there are 3 very, very good pubs. Unfortunately, the first pub, the Rook and Gaskill, doesn't open until 4 o'clock. So that was our
it's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely bonkers. So obviously the Rook and Gaskill is a bit of a legendary pub. I think there is still a brewery attached to it. But again, I was keen to kind of check that out, but we couldn't get in. So instead, we went across to the Rose and Crown, which again was very, very busy for a Saturday afternoon. People eating, people drinking. The whole of front bar was pretty much full. In fact, we ended up having to kind of sneak into the restaurant and sat there. Which then Son and Air then suddenly got on the menu and said, right, I'm members of the week then. So we all sat there watching him eat several platters. Ainsty beers were on here. There are 2 or 3 Ainsty beers on down the road. And yeah, good range of beers, very good. And then next door to the Rose and Crown is the Wagon and Horses. So again, it's a little bit of a unique pub. This is a Bateman's pub, Bateman's of Wainfleet in Lincolnshire. So I think this is their northernmost pub. I was reading they've got 69 pubs, Bateman's, but 23 are in Boston, and then the rest are kind of scattered around. They had three of their beers on, two cask beers, XB and Hooker, which we're guessing Hooker was a Six Nations one, and their Skull and Hammers. And again, I've read that they've recently opened a more of a crafty beer thing. I think what the brewery's called. It's something like Skelmore. So there's something called the Skelmore Craft Brewery, which is based. It's in the Bateman's Brewery. But again, as we said last week, that evolution, because they are quite a trad brewery with the XB and the XXB. But if you look there, this is what's so good about even this bit of a street. You've got a Tiny Rebel beer on, a Titanic beer, an Oakham beer, a Dark Star beer, a Rudgate beer, and three if you count the keg beer, 3 Batemans on. So, there was probably about 5 beers on in the Wagon and Horses, and imagine there'd be at least 5 or 6 beers on Muck and Gaskill. So again, if you're into real ales, 3 pubs, 3 yards apart, you could probably have a choice of 15, 16 different beers, and so really good.
Like the Golden Triangle, isn't it?
Yeah. I went for the Tiny Rebel Yippee Try, which again I guess is another Six Nations beer, which is very nice. I can't what you had in there, Bruce. Did you have the XB, didn't you?
Bateman's XB, which I have to say, I've not had XB in years. I'm looking forward to it, but oh man, it was malty and very old-fashioned flavour. Not for me at all. Not for me.
Because you drink too much lager, Bruce.
Yeah.
So we then had to head back into town. It was probably about 3 o'clock-ish at this point. We had to walk past the once great Warmgate Spread Eagle, which has recently been a Yemeni restaurant, although we understand now it's closed, like you say, Bruce. So a little bit of a past, though, again, if you're on the YouTube clip. And we were heading to Brew York and to their humongous beer hall. As you can see, if you're on YouTube, as we were getting there was a whole gang of people, wasn't there? And as we got down the bottom of the yard, there was a very stressed security bouncer bloke saying, no, we're full. I can't go up with you. Anyway, we kind of loitered. So we sent that big group you can see there in the black T-shirts, he sent them away. And as soon as they turned around, he goes, "Oh, go on, lads, you're all right, you can go in." And we went in, and I've got to say, the outdoor bit was, as always, the yard was busy. But as you see from the pictures there, it wasn't that busy inside. I mean, most tables were full, but we didn't queue to get to the bar. And again, if you know, you go straight through the bottom bar and out the back there, and there you can see Bruce's son sat on his own little lonesome on a very nice table overlooking the less than picturesque River Foss, I've got to say. But again, there's always the normal little space at the back there.
Oh, hey, Nick.
Yeah. Right, so we're back. So a slight clip there where we'll just put these together. So Brew York was pretty busy, and it always is really on a Saturday afternoon. But I said we managed to get into the little rear yard, which is worth knowing. So straight past the downstairs bar, go past the bar, the doors on the left-hand side of the toilets. I tried their Clever Guile, which apparently is a kind of a limey beer. They launched it last year, but they've done a new one this year. We also had a try of their brown ale. Bruce can't remember what you had in here. What do you remember you had in Brew York?
I think it was IPA. It was rather pleasant,
IPA. Yeah. But it's okay. I say it is busy in there. Prices are not cheap, but you get a great variety of beer. I mean, sometimes almost too much to choose, really. So we had quite a pleasant little thing there. The kind of weather was okay. It wasn't kind of warmish, but it wasn't raining. So I said that little back spot's quite a nice little place to kind of end up, really, as well. And so that was it. We partied with Bruce and Ben then. You guys, you had an engagement on Saturday night. So Finley and I, we went back to the station to get our train and thought we'd have a little stop in. Well, we decided we had about 20 minutes. So we called into York Tap. And again, to get away from the toilet smell, we sat outside of the platform side. And it is quite a nice place to drink beer in it. It's quite a nice place to sit and drink beer. Tables are always kind of awash, as you can see there, with glasses. But if you look up, you can see there. And of course, only for me and Bruce, the gents' toilet is literally, again, an arm's length away as you go towards platform 2 for the Malton train. So, yeah, all in all, a very pleasant little afternoon. Some new pubs for me. 1 or 2 hold horns as well. And I think, Bruce, definitely on a busy Saturday, which it was in York, those pubs are just about right, weren't they? We got a seat in all the pubs.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't really have to queue to get a drink. Whereas I'm guessing if we'd gone to more of the city centre pubs, like Trembling Madness, we probably wouldn't have got a seat in the old place. New place, we'd have to queue, I guess, at the
No,
bar.
absolutely. I mean, and then
Maltons would
actually,
be
I
busy.
mean, and price-wise as well, it's certainly a bit of a difference with the city centre. I mean, I know me and Nick, we had a quick pint. Nick was meeting somebody a couple of days before, and I got a pint of, we got a pint of Thornbridge White Swan, a pint of Eltins. It was £11 in the Market Cat.
Yeah.
Although to be fair, the house is Family Madness. I was there on Saturday night. They do by far. They've got, in terms of city centre cask beer pricing, they get some really interesting beers, keep incredibly well, and actually their prices are great. They had some Pentrick Fields of Green the other night. Oh my God, it was out of this world. I think it was
we get Pentrick a lot around here.
Let's see, where is it? Where it's based, Pentrick?
It's just near Derby, in a place called Pentrick. That's the name of it. Yeah, kind of Crickway. But Mellard's my local. They have that as a permanent. But they do a lot of different beers. They do quite a lot of different. I had one of theirs on. In fact, they've just done a really strong one, which I didn't try in the end, because it was like something stupid, like 7%, which is a slightly mad. So a very nice little afternoon in York. I say some of those lesser tread areas of York, definitely worth getting out to the Wellington if you can. Just for the atmosphere of the pub, really.
It is surreal because I mean, you walk down that street and you just think you're in a residential terrace street, and you would never think, because I suppose you automatically look as though you're looking for a pub on a corner, but it literally is just in a row of terraced houses, isn't it, Rose?
Yeah, it is mad, isn't it? It's thriving at the
minute.
And
with it being a Sam Smith's pub, there's no obvious advertising on the outside. It does have a pub swing sign sticking out from the wall, but as Sam Smith or as Humphrey doesn't do, he doesn't emblazon his pubs in typical pub advertising and marketing and all that sort of stuff, does he? You know, with the name of the pub on there or anything else like. So there's a little corner, like a little corner cafe down there, isn't there? Like a little coffee shop, is it, Rose? But otherwise, you really do think you're just walking down a residential street. You think there can't be a pub down here because it's just a terrace street.
Yeah. I would like to
you could also, it's probably about a 15-minute walk down the river as well. It's pleasant walk, probably in the summer, maybe not when it's just been flooded, but it's a lovely walk. In fact, you can walk either side, you can walk down kind of Roundtree's Parkway, come across the footbridge and walk all the nice walk.
To Bishop Road,
Get yourself sorted out there. So all very good. So that was the weekend before last. As I mentioned, this weekend Nick and I met up in Macclesfield. So that will be a future podcast. I think Nick, it's your first visit to Macclesfield. I've been a couple of times. I've been on a bit of a pubby crawl before. So that was that one.
Certainly a lot better than Manchester. Christ Almighty. I think Manchester is the only city where crime is being openly committed in the open air, and there's not been done about it. I was truly shocked.
Like Lee Anderson now, doesn't he? Like Lee Anderson at the moment.
I wouldn't recommend Manchester to anybody. I really would. You know, it's one of those places where you've got to expect the unexpected happening.
Yeah.
Because you can just see that something's going to happen at any moment for no particular reason, because you've got so many, obviously, people under the influence and feral young people with attitude. And I tell you, shocking
anyway,
place.
Really in contrast, Macclesfield was very civilised. There was a treacle market was on, which is the last Sunday of every month. So again, definitely worth a trip out. Really good market, actually, some really good stalls, loads of stalls, thousands of stalls. And Macclesfield is blessed with, I know Bruce mentions Altrincham. I would say Macclesfield is better because there's more of it. Virtually every street has got tapas places, good butchers, bakers, bars. And again, if you think, Nick, we had the complete range, didn't we? We had some really old traditional pubs like the Castle and the Queen's down near the station, micro bars like the Treacle Tap. We went to 2 brewery taps that were in the town. Red Willow, which is very nice Red Willow building. Five Clouds Brewery Tap as well.
You used to be a co-op, that, Mike. I was watching some last night, and all that row. Yeah, they were all co-op properties. So, in fact, where the Willow is, used to be a shoe shop or a shoemaker.
Yeah, no, very nice.
But it was all under the cooperative.
There's a great Irish bar there, which we walked past, the Shamrock Arms. We didn't go in, but again, that's a very good Irish bar. And we found a tremendous food hall and beer tap in the Picture Dome, which is a little bit out of the town centre, but again, a real find. I'd never been there. So we had a great hour or so in there, had a very nice, some really good food. So again, we'll share that with you next time. We do, though, need to try and get together as a threesome because we haven't done that for quite a while now. So I think we've all got our next batch of Northern tickets. So I'm a little bit slightly that I've got to go on one train to Manchester to then get into the rest of the network. So I think, again, interestingly, Bruce, when we were in the treacle tap yesterday...
Makes a bloody change for you to have a long journey back. Normally you're like 20 minutes away. We're travelling 2 hours, man. So, yeah, make a change this time.
I don't know about that. Treacle Tap actually had a nice Wigan, had a double spread on Wigan. They're one of the ale magazine, the Treacle Tap yesterday, which was interesting. And then they went to Preston as well. So there's that one there. We mentioned Tamworth before, though that's too far for Nicholas now because that's going to be not on the Northern Network. I know Sheffield's been talked about. I'd have to go. I don't know. I'd get to Sheffield on Northern. I'd have to do quite a circuitous route to get there. So we definitely need to plan that one.
We mentioned Chester, didn't we, Bruce?
Chester's another one.
We can get Chester on Northern Rail.
Yeah,
and then on the way, you can do Rochdale, Hebden Bridge, loads of places.
No, Bruce, Chester's enough.
Chester's got enough pubs in. In fact, I read another relay. I think it might have been Ooze Booze at a Chester kind of trail in there as well. So we'll find that out.
Yeah, apparently there are two absolutely stunning pubs in Rochdale. I've never been to Rochdale, but there are two absolutely stunning pubs. I would like to see them. And I'd say Fox and Goose at Hebden Bridge is well worth the trip too. Where are you all going this weekend?
Well, nothing planned, I think, at the moment. So it might just be a bit of an easy weekend this weekend. There's no rugby on this weekend, so that maybe changing things slightly. It's a week off for the rugby. We won't talk about the football because both Stoke teams now are in the relegation zone, and York City are not far behind them. So we'll forget that one.
Tonight. They've sacked.
Another new manager. Yeah.
So that's not great. So we will probably catch up then in March.
It's like one of my colleagues say when you spend £3,000 on a player, and that has to be criticism of the manager. What are you spending that sort of money on a player? The player isn't going to come through and do what he should be doing. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Okay. So, we'll probably be up again in March then. We've certainly got our Macclesfield trip to talk about. I know Nick's had a couple of adventures out there. And Bruce will be about to start his next adventure in the world of work, which I'm sure he can tell us all about. Choo choo is all I'm going to say at the moment. Listeners, watch his space.
I am going to a bucket list pub on Wednesday because we're going on me and my wife are going to Durham on Wednesday afternoon. I've never been to the Colpits Hotel, which apparently is one of the finest Samson's pubs in the estate. Right. So we're going to go visit that one. I've never found it yet. And then as it gets dark, we'll go to the Victoria, which I think is always in the list of top 10 pubs in the country. Yeah. Again, like never appreciate the wild dark. And I'm in Manchester. I'm in Manchester myself on Saturday as well. So, funnily enough, Nick, I had a colleague at work. He's no shrinking violet, and he'd been absolutely shocked at what was going on in Piccadilly Gardens.
Around there, Bruce. It's just open drug dealing, shoplifting, just antisocial behaviour. And as I say, I hate to think what the policing bill is in Manchester, because if things theoretically do happen, there's always a load of coppers there. But it's the fact that such a blind eye's turned. I mean, the mayor of Manchester likes to put himself up a pedestal. What a great bloke he is, and he's doing a brilliant job. But it's got to be the worst city I've ever been to, where crime is just taking place in the wide open, and everybody just turns a blind eye to it. It was horrible. It was shocking.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a part of the broadcast on behalf of the UKIP party. Miss Anderson will be after your vote very shortly. Right, so gents, we're going to go before we get any more political. So we will catch up again in March. There will be a blog coming out very soon about Anfield trip to York with some nice pictures in it.
True.
And I'm going to play some of the funky music.